Welcome to Flixit. Today, we immerse ourselves in the captivating world of Enola Holmes. Too fresh off the triumph of solving her first case, Enola Holmes follows in the footsteps of her famous brother, Sherlock, and opens her own agency, only to find that life as a female detective for hire isn't as easy as it seems. Resigned to accepting the cold realities of adulthood, she is about to close shop when a penniless matchstick girl offers Enola her first official job to find her missing sister. But this case proves to be far more puzzling than expected, as Enola is thrown into a dangerous new world, from London's sinister factories and colorful music halls to the highest echelons of society and 221B Baker Street itself. As the sparks of a deadly conspiracy ignite, Enola must call upon the help of friends and Sherlock himself to unravel her mystery. Before we dive into the video, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more awesome content. Let's get started and enjoy the show. Enola. Since her last adventure, Enola has started her own detective agency and quickly finds out that being a young woman with the same last name as London's greatest detective isn't easy. She is faced with sexism, ageism, doubts in her abilities, or people just bluntly asking her if Sherlock is available instead. Their mother, Eudora, is also still on the run, while Tucasbury is continuing his crusade for reform in England, and although Enola misses him, she says she has no time for distractions. Just as Enola is about to close shop for good, Enola is visited by a young girl named Bessie, who asks her to locate her missing foster sister, Sarah Chapman. Bessie brings Enola to her home, next to a match factory where orphan girls are being forced to work. Enola meets May, an older, more abrasive girl that isn't happy with Bessie going to her for help over Sarah. Enola looks for clues around the girl's room and comes across a paper that says 12 March, believing it to be a date. Bessie also informs Enola that Sarah had gotten into an argument with the factory's foreman, Mr. Crouch, who says Sarah was stealing something from his office. Enola follows Bessie to the match factory to pose as a new worker. She creates a diversion to sneak into Crouch's office, where she sees the factory owners, Henry and Hilda Lyon, plus their son William in a meeting, along with Treasury Minister Lord Charles McIntyre and his secretary Mira Troy. Enola finds a book with pages that Sarah tore out and took with her. She also finds old matches that had red tips instead of the white ones the girls work with. At night, Enola follows May to the Paragon Theatre, where May works a second job as a stage performer with a troupe of other women. When Enola goes investigating in the dressing room, May confronts her with a knife, but she doesn't give Enola any information she wants about what Sarah was doing in Crouch's office. However, she does manage to bribe the stage manager into talking, as Sarah also worked there and was involved with a mysterious man. The manager gives Enola a poem that Sarah received. As Enola walks alone, she is followed by a man with a cane. She walks faster until she runs into Sherlock being thrown out of a pub, as he is too drunk to stand on his own, and requires Enola's help to get home. After bringing Sherlock back to his home, Enola sees a board in his office over his latest case that has him stumped. In the morning, Sherlock deduces that Enola was working in the match factory due to the residue under her fingernails, and he becomes concerned that she is in danger. Enola leaves and later runs into Tewkesbury in the park, where it's clear they still have feelings for one another. She then reviews the poem again and finds that it's a coded message that reveals a location in Whitechapel. Enola arrives at the address and finds signs of a struggle. She then comes across May, dying from a stab wound. Despite her efforts to help, May doesn't make it. On her person, Enola discovers sheet music titled The Truth of the Gods. She is then found by Inspector Lestrade, who shows up with Superintendent Grail, the man that was following Enola the night before. Grail accuses Enola of killing May, and when he continues to question her, she kicks him in the groin and makes a run for it, leading to the opening scene where she's being chased by cops. She escapes and ends up hiding at Sherlock's place again, just after Lestrade had paid him a visit. Enola questions him about his current case, and Sherlock admits it involves bribery and blackmail among government officials, but he cannot deduce the source of these crimes. When she brings him her findings, Sherlock decides to solve the Sarah case as well and urges Enola not to let her personal feelings get involved. While both Holmes siblings look for clues, Sherlock goes to the apartment where May was murdered, and Enola finds clues based on the names of flowers. Poppy was mentioned in the poem, and she finds the name Sweet William. Enola finds out a ball is taking place where she may find Sarah's lover, so she goes undercover. When she tries to speak to the Lyons family, she is turned away for speaking without a chaperone. Enola ends up meeting Mira, who is kind to her and gives her a fan to impress the other guests. She runs into Tewkesbury and asks for his help in learning to dance. Upon further inspection, she finds that Sweet William refers to none other than William Lyon. She dances with him to try and get more information on Sarah, but William tells her people are watching them. At the same time, Tewkesbury dances with another girl Enola met named Cicely. Meanwhile, Sherlock deduces that his clues have led him to decipher a message "Good to meet you, Sherlock Holmes," as well as finding a name from the account numbers he gathered. Moriarty. Enola is arrested at the ball in front of everyone and brought in for questioning by Grail. He tells her not to get involved any further in Sarah's case, leading Enola to realize he is working for someone bigger. Sherlock goes to bail Enola out, but Grail attempts to hold her on his supposed evidence. Sherlock hits back with his own findings from the crime scene, figuring that one of the guards at the station might have been involved in May's murder and seemingly figuring Grail's own involvement. Sherlock has no choice but to go to Eudora and Edith for help, as Enola is being escorted to a women's prison. The ladies stage a breakout and take Enola with them. On the ride out, the ladies use smoke bombs to get the pursuing guards off their tails. Enola talks to Eudora about the case, having learned that the match girls at the factory were dying from what is allegedly typhus. Grail pursues and causes the ladies to crash their carriage. He attempts to have all three arrested, but they kick the guards' butts and get away again. Enola then tearfully parts ways with Eudora again, so that she may complete her mission. Enola returns to Bessie and finds nearby flower pots containing traces of red and white matchstick tips. She figures that the white tips contain phosphorus, which is the actual cause of death for the girls at the factory. Enola goes to Tewkesbury for help, but has to hide when Cicely shows up, as she was already working with Tewkesbury on the case. Enola slowly realizes that Cicely is really Sarah, and that William was her secret lover. Before they head out to continue to solve the case, Enola and Tewkesbury admit their love for one another. Enola and Tewkesbury go to the factory, where Enola encounters Sherlock. He tells her that their two cases are connected, and he has found reason to prove her innocence in May's murder. They find William dead in a chair, having been murdered as well. Enola finds clues suggesting Lord McIntyre had been conspiring with William's father, saving money by replacing the match tips with the cheap phosphorus that's been killing the girls. Using more clues from the sheet music, the siblings and Tewkesbury figure that they are being led to the Paragon Theatre. The heroes meet Sarah at the theater, where Enola has to break the news of William's death to her. Sarah has a list of the girls who were killed by the phosphorus to make sure they receive justice. They are found by Grail and his goons, with Grail holding Bessie with a knife to her throat. Bessie bites his hand and runs free, leading to a fight between the heroes and villains. Sherlock and Tewkesbury fight the goons, while Enola is chased by Grail. In the fight, Enola uses a hook to ensnare Grail by the groin and pull him upward, causing him to smash his head and break his neck against a wooden beam, before he falls down dead. McIntyre and his own goons show up with Lestrade, and he orders for Sarah to be arrested. Enola and Sherlock then gather all their information and conclude that the mastermind behind everything was Mira, aka Moriarty. Mira Troy is an anagram. She attempted to blackmail McIntyre and the Lyons, but things got complicated when William stole their contract, and she hired Grail to help cover her tracks, which led to May and William getting killed for them getting too close to exposing them. Lestrade arrests Moriarty, but McIntyre burns the list of girls' names to save his own skin. Enola returns with Bessie and Sarah to the factory, where they expose the girls' deaths and lead a revolt against Crouch and the other employers. The girls all walk out in protest, which Eudora and Edith watch and know that Enola is responsible. Sherlock visits Enola and presents her with a newspaper, saying that Tewkesbury has helped gather enough evidence to have McIntyre arrested. While Sherlock offers her a partnership, Enola declines but agrees they should meet every Thursday at 4. As she leaves, Sherlock is met by Edith, who gives him a newspaper that shows that Moriarty has escaped custody and is on the loose. Enola then goes out on a date with Tewkesbury. We hope you enjoyed this sequel. Please tell us in the comments which movie do you think was better between the two.